So we went for a technology called ETCS2, the European Train Control System, which is a interoperable system which has open specifications. So that gives a lot of flexibility. It is vendor agnostic. So I can go for a onboard system by one vendor and the on-track system by some other vendor. So not only this, means when we go for the second and third corridor in future, so interoperability among corridors can be ascertained because it is vendor agnostic. Whereas today in many systems, if you have to go for any extension of a line, a small extension, you have to go back to the same vendor for signaling. Otherwise, trains cannot communicate with two different kind of systems at the boundary or those kind of. You know, maybe knowing this example of London. Many trains use 4 onboard units because there are 4 kind of systems, and for every system you have to have a different onboard unit. Now, that is not which I wanted for my system. So we went for ETCS level 2 from the day one. Normally in Europe, you will not find many examples where people have gone for this system for a urban transport project.
Welcome to the Mobility Innovators Podcast.
Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Mobility Innovator Podcast. I'm your host Jaspal Singh. Mobility Innovator Podcast invite key innovator in the transportation and logistics sector to share their experience and future forecasts. In this episode, we'll be discussing the mega infrastructure project in India, Rapid Rail Network. Our today's guest is the Managing Director of NCRTC, which is the National Capital Region Transport Corporation. He's presently leading transformation in regional mobility by implementing the Regional Rapid Transit System project in the National Capital Region of India. NCRTC is mandated for designing, developing, implementing, financing, operating, and maintaining the RRTS project. He has built NCRTC from scratch and is now spearheading the development of the idea into a reality through this $15 billion project. Before joining NCRTC, he was the Chief Executive Officer of the High Speed Rail Corporation, where he played a key role in developing the Mumbai-Ahmedab High Speed Rail project. Having served as Executive Director in the Ministry of Railway, he has experience of working on board of many joint venture companies and has acquired a profound policy perspective. He has been officer in charge of the execution team of the first section of Delhi Metro project in the field. I'm so happy to welcome Mr. Vinay Kumar Singh, Managing Director, National Capital Region Transport Corporation. It's now time to listen and learn. Hello, Vinay sir. It's great pleasure to have you on the show, and I'm really looking forward to learn from your experience.
Thank you, Jaspal, for giving me this opportunity to talk to you and through you to some listeners.
Great, sir. And I just want to share before starting our discussion that I used to work with DIMS in 2010. And at that time, DIMS was responsible for conducting the feasibility study of this rapid rail transit project. So personally, somewhere I'm attached with this project, and I keep following what NCRTC is doing and how you're leading the organization. And I would say that I'm a big fan of your work, how the organization is shaping up and building the first rapid rail transit project in India.
Thank you for your kind words. So we are working on this massive project, and very complex because it is happening in the national capital and around national capital.
Yeah, no, it's one of the biggest projects I would say in India. So why don't let's discuss about what NCRTC is all about, because this is a global podcast. So I want to start telling our listener what is this project all about, because India has already built a 859 kilometer of metro system, which is 4th largest in operation. So why this rapid rail project is different from the metro project, which is happening in India, and how it will reshape the whole system?
So RRTS is, yes, it is a new kind of system, railway system, commuter system, which is different from metros, and it is different from Indian Railways also, because Indian Railway provides services throughout the country, and generally long distance trains are there.
Yeah.
and that has freight as well as passenger traffic. Here, primarily, this system is being built for commuters for intercity travel, say of about anything from 50 to 100, 150 kilometers.
Yeah.
So, and the stations are also spaced at a much longer distance, anything from 5 to 10 kilometers. On first corridor, which we are just constructing, the stations are as close as 3.5 kilometers to as distant as 7 to 8 kilometers. So this is much more than the normally the metro interstation distances, which are anything from 0.8 kilometers to 1.2 kilometers. So what happens if your interstation distances are little more? As in our case, you can have trains running at much higher speed. So because you get time to accelerate and decelerate. Plus, the average speed of train changes. Even for the same train, if the intersection distance is more, the average speed will become higher. Now, using this principle, we have chosen a design speed of 180 km per hour for RRTS system. With the operational speed of 160 km per hour. Now, what happens when a train runs between stations having average distance of 5 to 7 kilometers? The average to a commuter, the speed which is available, commercial speed which is available, is in the range of 90 to 100 kilometers, with a train is stopping at each and every station. But if you increase the interstation distance by having hopping trains, a train which is missing some of the stations, which can be planned depending upon the need and requirement of the people, then average speed can go much higher also. It can touch 120, 125 per hour, which is quite significantly different than metro, which is about 32 kilometers per hour. Anywhere across the world, if you see, all metro systems will give that kind of a speed. And National Railway, Indian Railway, which has the maximum running speed in the range of 120 to 130 kilometers on date, the average speed comes to around 75 kilometers, 70, 80 kilometers in that range. But those are, again, I am talking of those trains which are running for 40, 50 kilometers at a stretch, means not stopping, up to more than 50 kilometers or maybe more than 100 kilometers station distances. So this is quite a different kind of transport product which is being now introduced in India, and technologically very advanced. In terms of comfort, it is very advanced. This is much more comfortable. It's very safe because the technologies being used are entirely state of the art.
Amazing. No, I feel like what you mentioned is it'll be the fastest train network in the country. I think under the high speed.
Till Mumbai-Ahmedab high speed line is commissioned, this system RRTS will remain the fastest system in India.
Oh, that's great, sir. So now I want to just switch to your personal journey, because that's very important. You were involved in the high-speed rail project as well. So I was telling somebody that Mr. E033 is remembered as a Metro Man of India, and I think you will be called as a Rapid Rail Man of India, because you were officer in charge of execution of first section of Delhi Metro, but also you were the first chief executive officer of High Speed Rail Corporation. And now you are the #1 employee at NCRTC when you started this whole organization. So would love to know your personal journey in this whole rail system or rail network in India. And can you share some interesting fact about your career, which can be, good learning for the young people who are looking to start their career?
Okay. Thank you for that. Means I'll say it is the grace of God that I got opportunities to work in very challenging and projects, and means I was now I've left the Indian Railways, but I was member of Indian Railway Service of Engineers, coveted service, as you mentioned. Mr. Sridharan was also from the same service, and so what happened now? in last about 30 years of my association with Indian Railways, where I worked. 2/3 of my career I worked with bosses who are not from the civil engineering, means my own service, which is quite unusual. Normally in Indian Railways, people work under the bosses who are from the same lineage, same department. So this was something very different than what a normal railway engineer does. The second thing which I'll share with you is that I got opportunity to work on assignments which were entirely different from each other every time I got transferred or posted. So in about 6 various kinds of assignments I have done. I started with the normal track maintenance, building maintenance kind of work, which a civil engineer does in the Indian Railways, and bridge maintenance. And from there, suddenly I came to Delhi Metro, which was purely a construction project in national capital, quite complex. And because I was looking after the first section, the challenges were much more. Every time whoever starts a new project, you know that the challenges will be much more.
Yeah.
And every experiment was done in my jurisdiction. From there, I came to a position where I was supporting top manager of Northern Railway. So I could see the how management of a full zonal railway of Northern Railway is done. From that position I could see because I was working in that office. From there I came to ministry where I worked for almost similar tenure of 5 years, where I was in charge for all the public sector undertakings of Indian Railways. Ministry of Railways, rather, I should say. So about 12 or 15 PSUs I was coordinating. So I saw the working of those boards, dynamics of such companies at the highest level, how these companies are managed. So I got a opportunity to see maintenance. I could see the construction, the best construction project of the country at that time.
Yeah.
Then I saw the biggest zonal railway from the top, from CEO's position. I could see that. Then ministry, that means board of directors of those 15 PSUs. And I was interacting with them, all the railway board members directly and minister's office. From there, I came to this project where I was coordinating the Mumbai-Ahmedab high-speed rail project, the bullet train project. And I was on the same position. I was looking after the last mile connectivity of railway system with the ports.
Oh, great.
Which was again means a logistic project, but more than that, a issue how to handle the revenues, how to distribute revenues between private operators and Indian Railways. Those kind of policy issues, very complex issues, which were not sorted out by that time. I worked on those issues. So, and I worked on the board of those PPP companies, 4 PPP companies. I was on the board of 4 companies. So all this gave me a very good idea of various kinds of assignments, each entirely different from the earlier one. So every time I got a new posting, I had to start from zero. But by the time I left, I learned everything about that assignment.
Yeah.
And then I got opportunity to work as Managing Director of NCRTC. Now, everything what I learned in those 28, 30 years and of various kinds of exposure, that helped me here. So, while I started this organization from zero, as you rightly pointed out, the first person in the organization. And coming to this stage where we are now commissioning the first portion of project in a very short time, means that I never felt that there is a big challenge because I knew many of the things which I faced. I knew how to deal with them. So this is something I thought I'll share with you today.
Well, that sounds really amazing, sir, because the way you mentioned that you work in construction, you work in maintenance, you work in managing the the board members and revenue department and last mile connectivity. And you rightly pointed out, like bringing all those experience at NCRTC, it's a big achievement. And also, I must say your journey must have been very interesting because, like you mentioned, every time you were starting from zero, you build it up and then you leave that legacy to somebody else and then move forward and create another new department or organization or division. So that sounds very interesting. And I feel a true leader is emerged when you put more challenge, not by giving simple tasks. So the true leader is when you get more and more challenge.
Only thing I feel now it is high time that I should not take up such challenges.
I thought
There
probably
should
there is
some time to enjoy or to consolidate your gains also.
That's true. That's true. I mean, there should be a time to do that. But I think what you are doing with NCRTC and the whole rapid rail system, like it will be a big change in the country. And in fact, recently India became now the second largest road network country with the national highway of 140,000 kilometer. But I feel India need to progress more into the rail segment. And what you mentioned, that rapid rail is trying to connect different city, intercity, and bringing rail to the doorstep of people. And I think why it is important, because there are a lot of people who cannot work and live in the city. So the rail can provide a good medium for them to travel around. Like if I can travel from Delhi to Jaipur in 1 hour or 1.5 hour, the whole economy will shift. So I just want to understand more from you is like how this RapidX, now that's a brand name you are using for NCRTC Rapid Rail Project, RapidX. How you feel the RapidX system will change the whole economy of NCR region, and what are the current corridor which you are building, and what's the future plan? So can you share a little more about the construction which is going on right now at RapidX, and what are the future corridor plan for the RapidX?
Uh, See, this project is started from a survey which was done by Indian Railways. I think, if I'm not wrong, in 1997, 98, that kind of this thing. And based upon those studies, this got incorporated, the concept of RRTS got incorporated in the NCR regional plan and the transport plan horizon year 2032. Now, from there, this discussion started, and people understood the importance of this kind of commuter system, especially in Delhi, because you see, if you don't provide good transport and high speed, good quality transport from metropolitan cities to outside, and if you are not able to serve the people staying 150 kilometers, then people are forced, because they don't have a good transport system, they are forced to come and live in the metropolitan. Now, this creates different kind of problems. The city starts increasing in diameter, horizontal, and any city which is expanding horizontally, it will require much more expenditure per capita for in transport, in infrastructure, in providing health facilities, anything which government has to provide as a part of the social welfare. The cost per capita will be very high. So Delhi has come to a stage where not only that it is the most populous city of world after Tokyo, but horizontally it has increased in size, which is unmanageable practically, and in next 10 years it will be completely unmanageable. So understanding this importance of a system which can keep the city contained in a smaller diameter, and people can live little away from the city, where only thing is that the system provides good access to various facilities in the metropolitan. Most of the cities, as you know, whether it is Madrid, it is Paris, or it is Seoul in Korea, or it is Tokyo in Japan, the people come in the morning, they do their job, their economic activity, and they go back. And what happens in the process, because many people are staying little away from the city center, A lot of economic activity takes place there also. In many of the cities, whether it is Paris or Madrid, as I mentioned, the most posh area, the most high-end area is away from the city center. It is not in the center. And those are connected by whether it is RER or Cercanías or any kind of transport mode, rail-based. So people stay away, better lifestyle, and there is economic activity to support their stay there. And there is different kind of economic activity in the city for which people come and go back.
Yeah.
Now, this is something which is sustainable. What is happening in Delhi is not sustainable. We all know. Now, with this background and to decentralize the economic activity from Delhi, this project was conceived. And later on in 2006, a committee was made, which was chaired by Secretary Moua. At that time, it was called MOUD. And there were people from all the concerned 4 states. And they started working. This was the planning commission made committee.
Yeah.
And they suggested 3 priority corridors, out of which now we are working on Delhi Meerut. The first corridor we are constructing. Other 2 are in the process of sanction. So a lot of work has been done there also, but not purely in terms of main construction. A lot of preparatory work has been done on the other 2 corridors also, which we are going to take up very soon. But Delhi Meerut, yes, Delhi Meerut we started 4 years back. Now we are going to commission a part of it. And the balance will also be commissioned in next 2 years. And we are trying to expedite that also.
That's amazing, because the Delhi Meerut corridor, I think it's a 82 kilometer. It's not a small corridor. So, and you will be delivered the full project in 2 years. I mean, the whole construction and everything will start. So that's amazing. And
so
you know, now
is already. Okay, sorry.
No, please, sir.
So construction is already, civil construction is going on in the balance portion also. And now we have to just complete the system part of that and commission the whole thing.
That's amazing. I think this is one of the fastest infrastructure project completed in India. The such a mega project, because I think the overall cost of this project is around $5 billion. And I would say that you completed, like, doing the work in one of the most toughest time of our entire human history is this during this COVID period, because the whole construction was stopped, everything was stopped during that period, but still you managed to bring it back to life and doing it. So just want to understand what kind of challenges you faced during this construction period in last 5-6 years, and especially during COVID, and how NCRTC is using technology to manage these challenges, because I'm pretty sure you must be using some different tools, different technologies, which is helping to expedite the whole construction period, as well as make it a little different. So I would love to know a little more, because in some of the other publication you mentioned about that NCRT is using BIM and digital twin. So it'll be great to learn how this project is very different from whatever has done in India so far.
So I agree with you. The construction during last 4 years had been very difficult, especially means on one side we are working in the national capital, which is already fully developed urban area, politically very sensitive.
Yeah,
you can imagine that doing such kind of huge infrastructure work in national capital brings in its own challenges, other than challenges in terms of collection of technology, because this is a new kind of project, a new kind of system we are doing in the country. High speed brings in issues of safety, issues of technology, and land acquisition, those kind of standards, complexities we face in any project. But that gets multiplied 10 times if you are working in NCR. And then adoption of technology by the industry, because many of these technologies have never been used in the India. And simultaneously, we have this challenge of make in India, because the whole nation wanted that whatever we do, preferably it should be done within the country, and bringing in new technology which is not available in the country, and that too within the guidelines of Make in India. So there was huge challenges. But from the day one, we had this strategy of risk identification and risk mitigation. So we managed our risk well, I can say. Means today I can say that, because that is why we could complete it much before the expected timelines. Because we had committed to government that we'll do the first section within 4 years, and I'm happy to share that we did that within 4 years, in spite of this unknown factor of COVID-19. You know that during COVID-19, availability of technicians, laborers, engineers, everything was challenging. People were not available. And on the other side, material was also not available, because it is not only that within India, outside India also, our supply lines got choked, means completely for 2 years almost. Many things where we had to depend outside support. Even the movement of material, especially the high technology components, which were coming from outside, something which used to take 15 days, it started taking 3 months. So, but as I told you that we resorted to very thought out strategy where we identified the risks and we planned accordingly. We planned each and every activity, the interfaces, especially urban transport projects, rail-based projects are very, very complex, because these have huge interfaces. You mentioned about highway. So constructing highway and constructing a railway is entirely different ballgame.
Yeah.
And we were doing something where we wanted to introduce the best of the technologies, the most suitable technologies for this kind of system at the optimum cost, within the framework of public procurement, within the framework of Make in India. So, but the team worked well. The team which I had selected, which I had appointed at various positions within the organization, and they performed at their peak for consistently for 4 years, last 4 years. And that is why today we are in a very comfortable position as far as project implementation is concerned. We used large number of technological tools. Means on one side, the state-of-the-art technology for the railway system.
Yeah.
On the other side, technology tools for construction monitoring, for project implementation, and then many other techniques like precasting and those kind of things to expedite. Means whatever we could do, we did, and we just took up some other challenges like BIM. So it was a huge challenge to implement BIM in India at that time, because very few people knew about it, and implementing on a project of this size was quite challenging. But later on, people understood, later on the team understood that it was BIM and common data environment which actually helped us in collaboration during COVID time, because designers, consultants, they could work from wherever they were, whether in country or outside country, sitting in Europe or America or India or Hyderabad, Bangalore, Delhi, or within Delhi, because people were not supposed to move.
Yeah.
The confines of their houses, designers worked day and night, and we could do many things otherwise which we could have not been done due to COVID and due to strong, very, very tight control on the movement of people.
Yeah.
But that kind of collaboration we could do due to CD and BIM, which helped in expediting the project.
I fully agree with you. I think it's like your foresightedness to implement these technology, because without having BIM model or digital twin, it would have been very difficult to work during the COVID period when nobody was traveling. So it's a foresightedness, and I think technology can help to make collaboration much easier and let people to work in a real time rather than waiting them to physically travel and go around. You briefly mentioned that at NCRTC use a lot of other technology for construction, and I would say I was going through some of the research, and very interesting to find that NCRTC is the first system in India which is using this rigid catenary system for high-speed rail, and also your rolling stock is very unique, and your precasted track which you mentioned. Would be interested to know more, like why you selected those technologies and how they are innovative, why it's more challenging for you to bring those technology in India.
So we work only with one single objective, that whatever we are doing by spending public money. And whatever we are going to create should be the most optimum solution in terms of meeting the objectives for which this system is being created. So we choose the technologies which are best suited. So I'm not saying the best in the world or those kind of means. I'm very particular about that. So this was primarily to optimize the whole system. So there should not be no particular subsystem should become a constraint tomorrow. So on one side, on one subsystem, you are using a technology which has huge potential. On the other side, one subsystem which can create constraint for the whole of the system. Those things were taken care of.
Yeah.
And we went for the rigid catenary. It is a huge challenge because for higher speeds, we know in some of the metros you may be knowing that people use third rail, which is a rigid catenary kind of arrangement. And there are not many examples where a rigid catenary arrangement has been used for speeds beyond 100 km/h. Here our requirement was 180.
Yeah.
So there are one or two examples only across the world where people have used rigid catenary for speed, but we took up this challenge because we knew that we have to not only optimize the technologies, but we have to optimize the cost also. And if we don't go for rigid catenary, then the tunnel diameter will become very large. And this being a system being constructed in Delhi, not only this corridor, but future corridors will also have a lot of underground alignments, this tunnel administration. So we have to choose a technology which should reduce the civil engineering cost. This was one. The second was the signaling and telecommunication. Signaling telecommunication is again the CBTC system which is being used by macro organizations in the country. They are not proven for speeds up to, beyond 100 km/h. Now, here again, we had this challenge of choosing a technology which should not only be the cost optimized, but it should be in future also when we go for the other corridors, then we should not be in a position where we have to cough up more money than what is the right amount for those kind of infrastructure development. So we went for a technology called ETCS2, the European Train Control System, which is a interoperable system which has open specifications. So that gives a lot of flexibility. It is vendor agnostic. So I can go for a onboard system by one vendor and the on-track system by some other vendor. So not only this, means when we go for the second and third corridor in future, so interoperability among corridors can be ascertained because it is vendor agnostic. Whereas today, in many systems, if you have to go for any extension of a line, a small extension, you have to go back to the same vendor for signaling. Otherwise, train cannot communicate with two different kind of systems at the boundary or those kind of, maybe knowing this example of London. London, many trains use 4 onboard units because there are 4 kind of systems, and for every system you have to have a different onboard unit. Now, that is not which I wanted for my system. So we went for ETCS level 2 from the day one. Normally in Europe, you will not find many examples where people have gone for this system for a urban transport project. Normally, this is a mainline solution for it.
Yeah.
But we went for it. The second challenge came because the communication backbone, the present communication system is getting obsolete. So there was a requirement that we go for a new kind of technology which can remain sustainable or which doesn't become obsolete in next at least 1 or 2 decades. So we went for LTE. So our system today has become the first ETCS level 2 system on LTE. So European system, but being commissioned for the first time outside Europe.
That's
and there again, we have done we have taken many other courageous decisions, like we are integrating it with the platform screen doors. We are going to have a interoperable ATO system sitting over our signaling system for automatic train operation. So many things which make it very, very unique. It's never been tried. Track side, you mentioned the track. Here also for lower speeds up to 90-100 km per hour. Challenge was how to go for a track technology which is fit for higher speed of 180 km per hour.
Yeah.
And we worked on various solutions available. Here again, I was very clear that I'm not going to take a vendor-specific solution. So whatever we'll do, we'll take the technology, we'll use it by Indian contractors. So construction to be done by the Indian contractors. The technology we may take, because this technology is not available in the country, we have to take it from outside. We selected this for precasted slab track technology, which is also called Austrian track technology.
Okay.
So this technology has been used in last 30-40 years across the world in high-speed projects up to a speed of 120, 140, those kind of 320 and 340 kilometers per hour. We have customized the design for our requirement, as I was telling you, customized and optimized for our requirement. And today, I'm happy that we are running trains at 180. We did our trials at 180 km per hour. And touch wood, the track is behaving very well. So now I can say that we have mastered this technology in the last 2 years. We are happy now. Even the IPR of the technology we have purchased. So other corridors, so we can do without going back to the vendor.
That's superb. Like I love your point about, because not many people think about, one is how to optimize, because they say I want to buy best of the world, but sometimes the best of the world is not the best functional in certain environment, and especially like Delhi or a country like India, where you need a really robust system to perform on the field. So you make sure that it's best of the world, but also meeting the local requirement, and also the foresightedness of having scale up in future, because sometimes you have good system, but then you cannot scale it up later on and have this vendor lockup and the challenge of interoperability. So you are already thinking about those things, not only for corridor 1, but corridor 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever it will come, and you want to make sure that it's interoperable. So that I would say these are like very foresighted thing. Like not many leaders sometimes think, and they just think on, okay, this is the task, I just finish it. but you are not completing the current task, but you're already thinking about, okay, what's the future look like?
And two other things, because you mentioned interoperability, I must tell you that even these three corridors, when I took over as managing director of this organization, I found that these three corridors were terminating at different places in Delhi. And I found that this is again is not an optimal solution. Plus, not in favor of the commuters who will be using, nor it is in favor of the organization, because you have to have inventories for each of the corridors because they are separated by geographical distances of few kilometers. So then I changed the whole scheme. We integrated the three corridors. You were in TIMS, you may remember this, that earlier there were three corridors. Two were terminating near your office.
Yeah,
and one was at Sarai Kalekha. But later on I changed this scheme and I made those terminals, rather I eliminated those terminals and made Kashmiri Gate as one pass-through station, a normal, simple, a small station. Same thing we did at Sarai Kalekha also. So Sarai Kalekha, all the three corridors are meeting. So trains can move from one corridor to another corridor without passengers have to change the train. So they can go from one corridor to another. Like somebody traveling from Meerut side can directly go to the airport, which is on the other corridor, without changing the train. Now you imagine the ease of traveling for a commuter. Somebody going from Ghaziabad to Gurugram, ease of travel. No change involved. Earlier it was not possible. That's the kind of planning we were doing. So this optimization and this integration and this interoperability of trains and the corridors, this has not only helped the commuters, but it will help the organization, because the number of trains which you need, the number of rolling stock depots you need, number of machinery which you need will significantly reduce. Plus, lot of operational flexibility. People can move from machinery, can move from one corridor to another. Rolling stock can move from one corridor. So wherever there is a need, you push more because everything is interconnected.
Yeah.
And we how much we reduced? 1.5 billion just by this single idea in terms of capital investment. I'm not talking of operational and maintenance reduction, which will happen in next 50 years. Even at capital stage, 1.2, if I'm not wrong, around 11,000 crores Indian rupees, so almost like 1.5 billion dollars.
That's a huge.
So you could introduce,
No, I think what you mentioned, because I know a couple of systems around the globe where they have this challenge of interoperability, and it's not only costly but also very inefficient, because something you need to cross the corridor if you want to use the resources and you can't do. So what you're doing is, it's really remarkable. And I agree with you. When I was in TIMS, that was the plan. Like ones will end up the Sarai Kalekha station and two will be at the Kashmiri Gate. So great to know. Now, in fact, that's another thing which RapidX is doing very, very good, is building this integration with other mode of transit. And you want to make sure that all the NCRTC stations should emerge as a mobility hub, not just as a station. So they should be kind of a mobility hub. So would love to know your vision for RapidX to build this multi-modal hub in the city. And also, if you can share a little more about anything you're doing with the TOD, because I saw recently you had a big workshop on TOD and you brought experts from around the world. So what's your vision on creating this multi-modal hub and TOD side?
Yes, multimodal integration with other modes of public transport is core strategy of NCRTC. We work very, very diligently on ensuring that each and every station, wherever we are constructing, should be able to serve at least 2 or 3 different modes of transport. So we work with the other authorities In India, you know that it is quite fragmented. The control and governance of these organizations is quite fragmented, and in Delhi, this is much more difficult than any other state thing due to the governance complexity. But we could make a very, very good start in this. We work with Delhi Metro, we work with Indian Railways, we work with state transport corporations, almost each and every station of NCRTC. We have very good multimodal integration, and in each and every station, we are providing parking facilities. We are providing facility for integration with the last mile connectivity providers. And we are taking the entry exit to station little away from the highway if we are along the highway or at the mid of the highway, to ensure that later on tomorrow there is no congestion on highway due to our presence.
Yeah.
We are very much conscious about this. In two things I would like to mention here, other than many, you may be aware that what we are doing at Anand Vihar, what Sarai Kalikam we are doing. Not only that, metro, the buses, the Indian Railways, and then airport we are connecting. But two very specific cases I will tell you to what extent we have won. So both these examples are from Meerut. In one case, what we did, that we subsumed the metro corridor in RRTS corridor. So in about 21 kilometers of length in the city of Meerut, we have not only 4 RRTS stations where RRTS trains will be stopping, but on the same line, on the same infrastructure, we will have additional 9 metro stations. So total 13 stations on which the metro, which will also be flying on the same line, will stop, and RRTS high-speed trains will stop only at 4. So on the same platform, you can get a RRTS train or a metro train. So both the systems subsumed, we saved $1 billion, and we could provide the services, both kind of services. And you imagine the ease of traveling by metro. You came on the platform, and then you took a RRTS on the same platform, same card, same ticket, and you come to Delhi or to airport or anywhere. Now, so this is something radically different than what normally is happening. Second thing, what we are doing, very interesting, there is a bus stand at the center of the city. It's a big city, you know,
yeah.
And old bus station. Both the roads, the road network is congested because it is an old city. Yeah. Even we have to go underground in a small city like Meerut. But now what we are doing, we are shifting this bus stand from the center of the city to periphery of the city through terminal bus stand. Two directional, not terminal, directional bus stand. The one in the north, the other one in the south.
Okay.
Both bus stands being served by metro. So if somebody is coming from, let us say, from Delhi, yes, he can get down at the Meerut South and catch a metro, which is very, very well integrated, the metro station and bus stand. We are constructing it. We are doing it for the city. And same on the other side.
Yeah.
Now, 1,200 buses which are entering the city will not enter, thereby reducing the congestion significantly. Plus, the people who are moving by other modes of transport on the same axis, which is the busiest axis, which carries about 70% of the traffic otherwise of the city. Now metro is there, because now buses will not enter, the people can move on the metro, significantly reducing the congestion. So real integration, multimodal integration, as you pointed out. We could actually, I'm just giving you two major examples, other things like other cities we are doing at so many other places.
No, this is so impressive. This is so impressive. This is so impressive. And I think that should be the mission of any new project, is not only just build, but also transform the whole city infrastructure. And what you're doing with Meerut, building this north-south bus station, is actually will change the whole outlook for the city, because now the traffic will be less in the city. The buses can stop, and the people will also start using metro. So in a way, you are encouraging people to use more multimodal transit rather than using their cars. So it's seamless service. They can go from point A to point B without using their own personal car. And
Yes.
and you did that workshop on TOD. What's your plan for the TOD? That sounds very interesting, because it's again very futuristic step done by NCRTC. Nobody in India was talking TOD in that way. So how you are looking to implement TOD along the NCRTC corridor?
The concept of TOD is still not very much developed in India. In some states, some work has been done, but states like Uttar Pradesh, where we are working, or in even Delhi,
Yeah.
so things are happening now. We thought that this is the right time when such a huge system is being constructed. This is the right time when we should introduce the principles of transit-oriented development. Let the challenge is the developmental authorities, the authorities which are supposed to do this transit-oriented, because our role is as transit authority is limited. So the whole thing is to be done by the city planners or the developmental authorities, which are. But we are supporting them, and first we are trying to make them understand what is TOD and why it is essentially required when such a big system, a transit system, is being introduced in their area. And I'm happy that our push and support to these organizations is making them think differently and making them understand the importance of timing, why it should be done now, how it can help doing it now rather than doing it 10 years after, when the areas around the stations will get congested due to a boom in the property in nearby area. So if we start regulating construction around the station from this moment itself, then city will have a much better environment or spaces to live, rather than a congested station which you see in near many of our railway stations.
Yeah.
Because when the railway stations came, the cities got constructed or developed around those stations. Most of our cities have railway stations at the center of the city, because historically the city got developed around them.
Around those.
Same thing will happen here also. The development will take place around these stations. And if we don't regulate it from the day one, so transit-oriented development is going to regulate the development around the station. And in the process, we will do land value capture. So we are working with the state governments, because the revenue goes to them. We are working with them to introduce some instruments where some additional unearned profit which a private property owner is getting due to introduction of this system. That unearned profit, a share of that is taken by the state, and a part of that is shared with us. So those instruments now we are putting in place, so that the money which gets generated through these instruments, 50% of that is used by the city authorities in developing the infrastructure due to the vertical development in those areas, to strengthen the infrastructure there, and 50% comes back to us for financing these kind of corridors, the present one or the future one. So that is broadly the scheme.
Amazing. I mean, I would again say it's like a foresightedness. You are already seeing that this is going to happen in 10, 15 years. Why not try to develop it in a proper way so that people will be happy who are living around the station, and the whole economy will come up around the station. People can move around, the commercial center can build up, the office space can come up. Now, I think this project, like, you are doing so many futuristic things. And you mentioned briefly about the ticketing system also, which you're implementing at RRTS, and it will be integrating with Metro. But also, I read recently that people can use UPI to buy ticket, and UPI is one of the biggest innovation. I mean, in Western world also, we kind of envy and see like how India has built this mobile payment system, and whole economy has turned into a digital payment economy. It's a very innovative approach. So can you share a little more about why you are implementing UPI for buy ticket and how it will be useful for NCRTC as well as for the commuters?
So RRTS or RapidX being a mass transit system, we are going for automatic fare collection system, where people will pay through their card. We are introducing NCMC from the day one, which is the National Common Mobility Card. Same card can be used by any other transit. So people using a card with us can use same card will be used in Delhi Metro or maybe buses, which will be our feeder or the dispersal systems, or any other transit system across the country. So NCMC makes it very easy for a commuter to purchase ticket or to travel. In addition to that, what we are doing is we are introducing our own app. So this app, which is called RapidX Connect.
Okay.
This app has facility to book tickets. It has many features which makes a journey much simpler, much easier. And third, as you rightly mentioned, we are introducing UPI payment on this. So not only that, you can pay through your cards, debit, credit, or cash payment. You can pay through UPI also. Now in India, large number of people use this facility, and it makes their life much easier. And it makes our life also much easier because not much cash handling at our station. So this is going to help the commuter as well as us, and we will be the first system across the system which is going to introduce UPI payment at all of our AFC ticketing machines from the day one.
I agree with you. It's a first system which you're using, but I think you will kind of open up platform for others. So other agencies and other transit network will start using it, and in future probably RapidX app can be used across any other metro system in the country. So it will be interesting to see. Now I want to discuss a little more about the operation side of the RapidX, and I would say again that's one of the first for India. Like RapidX has adopted this outsourcing model approach and appointed Deutsche Bahn for operation and maintenance. I would say it's the first public sector rail project on PPP, and it's very interesting. So can you share more about why did you decided to take that path? Why you want to go for outsourcing model, and what kind of lesson you learn in that process? Because it's a first outsourcing model for such a big infrastructure project. So what were some of the key lessons you learned in that process? And how will you measure the performance of this outsourcing model? So what are the critical KPIs you will follow to make sure that the project is delivering results?
Okay. Yes. So this was also something we took upon ourselves that we'll go for it. Private sector operator. This is Government of India policy since many years, but no other company, no other corporation thought about it to do it in such a comprehensive way as we did. We decided from the day one that we are going to have private sector maintenance and operation. We have now two contracts. One is with the rolling stock OEM.
Yeah.
So rolling stock OEM will maintain the train in depot constructed by NCRTC. Their train, their people, they will maintain for 15 years. And this is a comprehensive contract. So even if a component doesn't work, they have to replace it at their cost. So we have taken advantage of life cycle cost.
Amazing.
For 15 years. Number two is operation maintenance contract. The scope includes the maintenance of all systems, which is basically traction, signaling, telecommunication.
Yeah.
The PST, which is power supply, and operation of the train. Not only trains, the operation of control room.
Yeah.
It's all kind of facilities, all fixed infrastructure maintenance remains with Deutsche Bahn. This is again a 12-year contract which we can extend. There are provisions in the contract which can be extended on mutual understanding. These two, what now we have to manage is these two contracts and interface between these two contractors. Something new which is happening.
Yeah.
Radically different than how this used to be seen. Now, the first challenge you face in this kind of arrangement is because these are comprehensive contracts, rolling stock is okay because it was manufactured by them, they will maintain, there is no interface. The project has been constructed by us, the whole infrastructure has been constructed by us, and now we are handing it over to DB for maintenance. And there again, it is a comprehensive contract. That means anything going wrong, DB has to put their money. Now, at this stage itself, the work which we have done, the project which we have executed, now there is automatically there is one more party which is looking at it that the construction, the execution of work has been done as per the international norms. Only then they will be able to run it.
Yeah.
So you imagine from a situation where a team which has constructed is operating, means if anything goes wrong also it can be covered. In our system it cannot. Because now there is a operator who will say that you first correct it, then I take over.
Yeah.
So it makes our life difficult, but it makes quality of asset of very high standard.
I agree. I agree. With
Now
that.
you understood the lessons which you have learned. But if we do it successfully for 10 years or 15 years, which will still be a challenge because happening for the first time, it is long-term contract and it is a publicly procured contract. And this kind of contracts are quite rigid. We have specified, we have thought a lot what kind of KPIs, everything jotted down in contract, but everything cannot be specified in contract. All of us, we know. So it will have its own challenges during the operation, but that is why we are here. We'll ensure that whatever is written is good enough to operate this contract successfully for its completion.
Yeah, I love your point. I mean, because this is such a huge project and such a long tenure, you cannot be rigid. So the partnership approach and thinking from that angle, I think it will be more important for the success of this project. But I'm pretty confident because, like you mentioned, the lot of work you have done to thought about it and you put those KPIs, and at the same time you are thinking how to make it a success because you're not because a lot of these PPP projects fail because the agencies are rigid. They are not understanding the ground reality. But here you are making sure everything put in place. And if it'll be successful, I think then like it will be easier for NCRTC to expand quickly other corridor and focus on building and constructing new corridor rather than just operating one. No, that's a great thing. Now, one of the key challenge for regional rail system is to ensure the full utilization of the asset in non-peak hours and weekend. And again, NCRTC is doing some interesting work there that you want to mix up passenger and goods, which is again very unique. Not many system has able to do or thought about it, but it can bring more sustainability, more revenue generation opportunity for the agencies. And also, I think goods are equally important to transit. Like there is a lot of travel or traffic because of the good movement from different city. So very interested to know how RapidX has planning to mix both goods and passenger, and any plan to introduce 24-hour service in future, because in that case, then in the night you can use train to do some other work. But any future plan you have to introduce 24-hour service?
See, the railway system carrying passengers, that too at a very high speed, is quite expensive. Constructing this kind of system, that too in fully developed urban environment of a national capital, is quite expensive. And commuter systems typically have very sharp peaks in the morning and in the evening. In the day or later in the evening, sometimes you don't need those number of trains. And the system is being designed for the peak passenger traffic, because you have to manage that peak. A lot of unutilized paths are available with us, and capital investment has already been made. We thought how to utilize these assets where we have already made a lot of investment. And then we thought that thousands of trucks enter into Delhi every day, in the night and day, carrying essentials, carrying various kinds of parcels, goods. And if we can help the city by running some trains exclusively for freight, or maybe partially for parcels in passenger train, I don't know. Still we are working on it. But we wanted to use the path available on the system. The staff is deployed, energy is there, system is there.
Yeah.
Why not use it? And optimize, as I keep on saying, how to optimize.
Yeah.
This system. A system which is designed for the peak capacity. So then we started working on it, and we found two studies. One was done by Asian Development Bank, the other one is being done by the World Bank. For us, they clearly show that there is a good potential of doing this. So we are keen to work on them. The planning is, the strategy is to move these trains from one depot to another, not handling things at the station, because the stations are designed for passenger movement. And the standards of finishes and all kind of support arrangement there at the station is fit for passengers. If we start handling goods at station, then probably it will deteriorate all those kinds of things. So we'll be running these trains, special trains, which we'll procure separately, and we'll run these trains with the goods which are essentially required by the citizens of Delhi.
Yeah.
That we can reduce large number of trucks coming through. So congestion, reducing congestion from the road, reducing pollution, and bringing in this kind of electrified trains, and safely the parcels within city, and many things which go outside city also. We can carry many things. And once we start doing it, you will find that many industries or many smaller kind of businesses will move outside city rather than within city. So there will be flow which I believe will get established, where these trains will be bringing things from outside to city and from inside the city to outside. And that is what we want to capture. That is part of our mandate. That is that we have to reduce congestion, we have to reduce pollution in the city. And I strongly rather think that by doing that, we can contribute a lot on these two parameters.
Yeah.
So once we stabilize our passenger movement, passenger operations in next 2 years or so, immediately after that we'll start working on this, the freight movement during off time. So not necessarily in the night, because night we need system for maintenance, but in the day itself, as I was telling you, between morning and peak also, we can run large number of freight trains. Because this system capacity is very high.
Yeah.
The passenger train, you may need every 5 minutes, 10 minutes, but you can, off peak, you may need a train in 10 minutes. You can push 2 trains between 2 passenger trains easily at 3 minutes frequency, because system can support that kind of frequency.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
For those kind of frequencies.
And you're already thinking about, so you're designing your system in a way to build those features.
Now we are making all provisions to cater to that. Already we have made.
Amazing. So now I would like to ask you, sir, about the NCRTC Open Innovation Policy. So NCRTC published an invitation in May 2022, last year. And I would say it's one of the interesting proposal I have seen, where you invited all the mobility player in India and said, why don't they provide feeder service at RapidX station? And I think it's very important, because everybody understands that the first and last mile is very important for the success of any system. And in fact, in Europe, at the rail station, you can avail all kind of mobility option, which is very important to provide all option from the station. So I would love to know more about NCRTC Open Innovation Policy and how you are engaging with startup, because I think our Prime Minister also highlighted many times that the startups are the next engine of growth, and it's very important for agencies to work with startup. So it'll be very interesting to know how NCRTC is using itself as a test bed to pilot new technology with these startups.
So as I was explaining earlier also, we are having integration at various levels, starting from interoperability. So all the 3 corridors of RRTS are interoperable. That means trains can move from one corridor to another seamlessly.
Yeah.
Number 2 is multi-modal integration, where we are having stations almost at every major public transport system, wherever we are going, whether it is airport, whether it is national railway stations, or the Delhi metro stations, or metro stations in Gurugram, or metro stations in Meerut. Now the next level is last mile connectivity. So one way, we are either feeder service to other systems, or other systems are feeder and dispersal to us. But beyond that, at every station, we will have last mile connectivity to the passengers who are coming to our system or going to their residences or their place of work. So that is the last mile connectivity on which we had a lot of discussion in the industry. That is also again a practice which we follow. In whatever area we want to work, first we interact and engage with the industry. So as you rightly pointed out, we had invited people for this kind of workshop to understand how we can work together. And accordingly, we invited the EOIs, and further we finalized with 2 of the operators. And we have provided very extensive facilities at our entry-exit to stations. So every entry-exit to RRTS station, whether it is in Delhi or outside Delhi, any state, we are providing parking facilities and locations where the last mile connectivity players can bring in their mode of transport, whether it is a 2-wheeler or a 3-wheeler or a 4-wheeler or a bus pickup drop or a Ola Uber pickup and drop. So everything is planned at each one of the entry exit of our station. So if a station has 3 entry exits, we have these facilities at all the 3 locations. We have acquired land for this. We have ensured that this integration with the last mile connectivity players is seamless. We have seen that in some of the projects, metro projects earlier, people did not provide this kind of facility, and that has led to less patronage.
Yeah.
We are very clear that we'll provide this kind of facility at all the stations so that commuters patronize our system. If we'll make it convenient for them, they will patronize. Now, coming to your question about the innovation. So we are promoting people who are coming with the new ideas, whether it is last mile connectivity or bringing in some technology. So the last mile connectivity or multimodal integration is at various levels, you know that.
Yeah.
means starting from integration of information, integration of physical integration, which I just explained to you in terms of spaces in the stations. The third level is then integration of maybe your payment mode. We have developed an app through which people can move seamlessly in an integrated way from their house to wherever they are, to their destination, the last destination. And slowly we will integrate the payment mode also. We are working on that. So same card or through the same app, people can pay not only for RRTS ticket, but they can pay to the last mile service providers also. So we are working with the new startups to understand how they can contribute, how they can bring the new ideas in providing a very wholesome kind of public transport. As I popularly, I keep saying this, network of networks means we are creating a huge network of networks. So a smaller network near a station, then a bigger network, and then multimodal integration, so that we can link with the all kind of public transports. And last mile connectivity is the private transport also.
Well, that's amazing. I love your term network of network, because that's how the system should be, to create a small network and connect with other. And your layer of interoperability and then multi-modal and feeder, it's really amazing. Now, I love your point, because a lot of systems fail to envisage these things, like how to integrate with other mode. So it's great that you're doing at the planning level itself, not just once you build the station. It's very hard to do the integration later on. No, amazing. I think it's again very unique what's happening in India. So great to see you are leading this kind of a change. The other thing I want to understand from you is now, what kind of innovation you are doing for your rolling stock? Because I recently read that RapidX will be reserving one coach for women passenger, which is again very unique initiative, especially for regional transport. I never heard about this, like having a reserve coach for women. So it's very interesting. And in Europe and in other country, I have seen like sometimes they have a kids coach where they have a play area for kids, because the journeys are longer and kids can play. And so what are other interesting initiative you are taking to make the model more innovative and also accessible? Because I think that's also very important for any system to be successful. Our population is aging. There are people like kids and all. So how system should be more accessible for people with special needs?
All stations are universally accessible. That means whether it is the commuter is a kid or a elderly person or a lady. In India, ladies wear saris.
Yeah.
For them, it should be easy to travel through the station within the train. So important things I'll just list out for you. Number one, as I just told you, that we have universal accessibility. That means lifts, escalators, staircases, everything is available to all platforms, whatever is the height. If the height of the station is more, we have provided more escalators, bigger lifts. And then platforms and train floors are almost at the same level with few millimeters of difference, so that it is very easy for a wheelchair to move inside or outside the train. There is a dedicated space for a wheelchair. One step further we have gone is that we can move a patient on a stretcher also. So every train has a place where a stretcher can be parked. The train has been designed, the coach has been designed accordingly, and every platform has a lift through which a stretcher can be brought to the train. So it will be very seamless. Beyond this, if you see, then not only that we have a coach for women, we have seats reserved in each coach for women, for elderly, for kids, for pregnant ladies. So every coach has that facility. And we have a coach which is reserved for premium class passengers. So we have taken our mandate very seriously. So it is not that we will be shifting people from two-wheeler and three-wheeler. We intend to shift people from their private cars to RRTS. Because this is a long distance, a medium to long distance train where people will move 50 to 150 kilometers as commuters, means on daily basis. Presently, this kind of commute is being done by cars. And until unless we provide better facilities to them, and you said a few things are aspirations also. In India, still the car is an aspirational thing. People would not like to leave car until unless they can show to the society that they are still a class different. Now, for them, until unless I provide a facility of premium class, they will not shift. And that is why we have decided that each train, RRTS train, will have one premium class. So we have done many things to bring out people from their private vehicles to RRTS.
Again, I would say many interesting initiatives. I think the premium train for regional will be very first initiative in India. It's generally people like in metro, we don't have that kind of a facility. And also the moving patients stretcher availability. I think this is unique. I never heard anybody has done this, but it makes sense. If people have a non-life threatening, like move from one city to another, some injury or some requirement, so they can move from one place to another through rail system. So you reduce traffic on the road and push more people to go into the train. Now, again, very unique, very interesting initiative you are taking here. Now, I want to shift a gear bit and would love to know more about your leadership side, because leading this project is not easy. And not only this project, but you have done so many other projects in life. So you must have gained a lot of lesson throughout your professional journey. You build NCRTC from scratch, and I'm pretty sure it must be closer to your heart, because it's like your baby, which you have, now becoming like a toddler and will become an adult. So it will be great to learn some of leadership lesson from you, how to build an organization from a scratch and bring to that level and execute, and also not only build a big organization, but also leave a legacy, because in future also somebody else will lead the organization. So how this person can lead the organization? So what are your lessons that how somebody can build the organization?
Okay, this is a little difficult because many times I don't think, but I do as instinct. But you are asking to articulate it. So what comes to mind is everything starts from a very clear vision. Leader has to have very clear vision. The objective of organization, the objective of project which this organization will be doing, and accordingly we have to create the organization. In this case, in case of NCRTC, earlier also there were occasions when I created organizations, but in this particular case, I'll tell you, I was the first person to join this organization. Means there was nobody in the organization when I joined. But I had very clear vision about what we are going to do. Let us say this is a railway system. I decided very early that we will have private operation and maintenance. This was a huge decision, because in India till now there is no railway system publicly owned which is being maintained or operated by private operator. Now, until unless I have this idea in my mind firmly, then I cannot create an organization, because if you create an organization where everything is to be done by that organization or the people hired by that organization, then the structure of the organization will be entirely different.
Yeah, very true.
So, as I said, vision has to be very clear, number one. And number two, you have to align your thought process with the government guidelines, because it is a public funded project, public funded company. We have to understand that what is acceptable, what is not acceptable, and to what extent you can take risk in the interest of the organization or interest of the project. So that comes from your background of various experiences you have during your professional career. The other part is personal, means what kind of leader you are, as you asked. So I believe that leaders should be courageous. number one. So clear vision and courage.
Yeah.
Courage of taking decisions, courage of doing things which may have been done earlier, may not have been done earlier. But clear vision will give you that strength to take decisions. The other important aspect is integrity. People of high integrity can take very challenging decisions or the courageous decisions very easily. So if leader is of high integrity, he can take decisions very quickly. Only thing is the experience, the competence, the clarity of thought, as I said, these have to be on the background. If these are on the background and you have courage, then it is easier. And until unless you have that, you cannot make a customized organization, which I think. You can create organizations which are like any other organization, or you can create an organization which is unique, which can do things which people have not done. And this is what we did in NCRTC. We are doing things which no organization had courage to do earlier. Broadly, I can tell you, so we can talk on this subject for hours together, but with that limited time you are given, I think this is what I would like to share with you.
No, these are, I would say, I really love your point about having decision-making capacity in a leader and courage to take that decision, because in public sector, that's a challenge we face. Most of the organization, even if we have good leader, they don't have courage to take decision, because it's not easy. Like you mentioned, you have to align the interest of public and the government sector, and it's not easy. And a lot of leaders fail to do that. And I would say that you have actually built NCRTC in a very unique way, because I know a lot of people who are working there, and the talent you have brought in the organization, it's very unique. You brought people from private sector, you brought people from public sector, and tried to make sure that everybody work together. And that can only happen when the leader is very clear to take decision and move forward. And especially during that COVID era, which was very unique, people were stuck. They couldn't able to move forward. And I have seen many organizations around the world. So whatever I'm telling you, I'm really telling you from my experience, that I haven't seen an organization like NCRTC, which is working under government on such mega project and still manage to bring so much talent from private sector and deliver the project on the ground and bringing the project. So I would say many congratulations to you. And like you said, we can probably have a separate discussion on the leadership lessons from your side. Now, I want to discuss about the challenge part in this journey. So, I mean, like you mentioned, you were the first employee at NCRTC, and NCRTC now has come a long way. But I'm pretty sure the journey was not easy. It's look easy, like, okay, it was started, you bring people in and you build the organization, but it's not that easy. So would like to ask some of the challenges and situation where you actually require to change the course during this journey, because it's not easy. Like in government sector, you have some plan, but when you go in the field and try to deliver, you feel like, no, it's not possible. We have to have plan B and move forward quickly, because otherwise you will be stuck. Like you mentioned earlier about the land acquisition, it's not easy. So if something is not happening, how you change that? So what were your lesson learned from that process? Like whenever you have challenge and you need to change the course, because it'll be very useful for other system to learn. You cannot deliver big infrastructure project if you don't have agility and flexibility at the same time. Like what you said, sticking to your vision. If you move away from your vision, the whole system will collapse. So what were your lessons and what were some of the challenges you faced during this journey?
So, Jaspal, actually, these two things are inherently contradictory, if you see. The having a clear vision and firmly moving on that vision, and again having the flexibility to change course also. You understand what I'm saying? There is a serious contradiction, means inherent contradiction. But see, ultimately, as you rightly pointed out, if we have to deliver the project, and we have to deliver a project where we don't compromise with the objectives of that project. So every time I talk to my team, I kept on reminding them about the objective. So many times what happens, we become the victim of this trap of going for the technology, going for a particular officer or those kind of things, and we forget the objective. This happens very, very frequently in government organizations, including my parent organization, the railways. When we start talking of technologies, we start talking of methodologies rather than the objective, what for we are doing. So this clear focus on objective gave me and my team the right inputs at right time, where we have to be firm and where we have to be flexible. I'll tell you 2-3 examples shortly. The number one is starting from the Sarai Kale, the story of Sarai Kale Khan, I should say. Sarai Kale Khan today is the main hub or the central point of the RRTS 3 quarters, which was earlier not. And we got stuck with the government of Delhi in getting the land and permission to work on that land, because this land belonged to Transport Department, Government of Delhi. And there were some clash of interest between projects being done by NCRTC and projects supposed to be done by Transport Department. And finally, this got cleared with the intervention of Honorable Supreme Court. And we could convince Government of Delhi then why a particular scheme where both the projects can be done simultaneously. That will be the interest of everybody. That will be the win-win situation. Similarly, at few locations where we got stuck with the railways, Indian Railways, and then we try to find out solutions where probably we can work together. One particular case where there is the planning of constructing a metro line in Meerut by government of UP, and we had this idea of RRTS almost on the similar alignment. And Meerut is not that big a city which can have two such heavy transport systems, rail-based, working parallel. So there was a lot of discussion, and government of UP was not able to decide how to go about it. And there were vested interest in various project authorities who probably thought that will be the right solution. Then we came out with a solution where we said that both the projects should be subsumed. And we could prove it to the government of UP that with the technology today and with the right planning, we can subsume both the systems and we can save about 6,500 crore rupees of public exchequer on long-term basis, and providing seamless integration between metro and RRTs. So win-win situation for everybody. So what I'm saying, at various junctures during the journey of this story of RRTS, means we had situations where we had problems. Similarly, in some cases where the Make in India provisions, and there were issues with the local vendors versus vendors who were participating in the tenders invited by the NCRTC, and there were issues between multilateral funding agencies and the requirement of provisions of Make in India. So there were issues where we could sort out by discussions, by bringing out our ideas and see why we are going on a particular path and how we can do multimodal integration, Make in India, and simultaneously we can have the state-of-the-art technology induction in the system. So very complicated situations where we had to pass through. I'm not talking of COVID, which again was a serious issue. And we had situation when our supply lines from Europe or supply lines from Asian countries got seriously, there were serious problems in moving the material, moving the equipment. But we could, by changing the methodology or by changing the way that particular project was to be done, a sub project was to be done, or by changing the sequence of various activities, we could fit in the finally whole thing, and we could do the project in time.
That's amazing. The lesson learned for me is like, stick to your objectives. Don't move your objective, or don't move the goal post. You can change the way here and there, be a little bit flexible, but never change your objectives. So because the moment you start changing your goal post or objective, then the project will doom. So, and that's what you share with your example. Like,
so I can give you a very simple parallel to that of a football or a hockey. I had been a hockey player during my school days.
Oh, okay.
So if the striker who is having the ball, whether it is a hockey or football, if he is moving towards the goal post of the opposite party, and at some point, you know that particular striker will not be able to pass the defenders of the other side. He has to give a pass. There is no point that he should keep on trying and fail the whole effort, not reaching the goal post. You give the pass to your partner, the other attackers on the other side, and do the goal. Rather than the same person with a rigid mindset, not with a teamwork, doing the same, reaching the same objective.
No, so I love that point.
Can probably very easily explain how we worked on this.
No, I love your point. Like, okay, you pass on ball to somebody else, but you have to hit the goal. So it's non-negotiable. So you cannot change the goalpost. You have to hit the goal. But okay, you can pass the ball to some other player. No, I loved your point, and I think that's a success mantra to deliver such a big infrastructure project. Now, so you have now I would say 3 decades or 4 decades of experience in rail sector, and you have seen the big changes in the industry. So we call it as digitalization of rail sector. Now we see a lot of agencies are using cloud computing, artificial intelligence, big data, 5G networks. So a lot of new innovations happening. How do you see the rail sector will evolve in next 10 years, and how you're preparing RapidX to adopt these changes? Because I know you must be already planning how the organization will survive and thrive in next hundreds of years. So what are the plan you're doing for next 10 years that the organization will adopt these technologies?
So broadly, we are heavily dependent on technology, whether it is project implementation or the planning for operation and maintenance of the project which has already been commissioned. We are doing BIM, which is state-of-the-art technology. Very few projects across the world are using BIM to that extent to what we are doing. Everything is on BIM, every facility we are creating. Then we are finalizing the as-built models of the BIM. We are, whatever information is getting collected in these models, we are transferring it to integrated asset management system. Now, such a comprehensive asset management system has never been used. Not only in our country, across the world, very few projects, even in Europe or America or in Asia, who have done this kind of comprehensive transfer of data from BIM to asset management system. Otherwise, administrative functions like any other project or any other organization is on ERP. So again, technology-driven tools. The technologies which are being used in the railway system, as I was mentioning, the hybrid level 3 ETCS, which is not even been implemented in Europe as of today. This is a futuristic technology, that too on a LT backbone. So Europe is waiting to see how NCRTC will be running the trains on such system. And very soon you will find in next 6 months or few years, there will be some more courageous organizations like NCRTC who will take these decisions in Europe, and they will go on ETCS level 2 even, and then hybrid level 3 for their signaling systems. Because we know some of the projects which will be happening in next few years in Europe. And whether it is a track, whether it is other technologies in terms of rigid catenary, like rigid catenary also we are going to create examples for other railway systems across the world to follow us in terms of high-speed rigid catenary systems. So very interesting things we are doing, and we are making the whole system future ready, or rather I should say future proof, so that for next few decades there is no problem to the system, nothing becomes obsolete, and we can face very easily without much replacements, not much obsolescence. The RRTS system in NCR of India will continue without much challenges in terms of technology.
No, great. Now I love your point. Like actually, Europe, like they will find courage to learn from Delhi now. So which is happening, and this is actually my last question, because everybody in the whole world is now saying that this is a century for India. Now this is a time for India where India should emerge as a big country and as a progressive place. How do you see India in 2035, and how RapidX will become a catalyst for revolutionize the regional urban transport in India? How you see, because like you have a vision, where you see the vision for India as well in next 10 years?
So if you if you see in last 10, 15, 20 years what happened in India, today we have the busiest airports of the world in India.
Yeah,
the biggest and busiest. Means we never thought that international airports like Delhi, Hyderabad, Chennai, Mumbai, these will be much busier than many other international airports which are famous for their busy schedules, means in last few decades if we talk of. Today we have the trains, the cars which are similar as you can see in Asia or European developed world also. We have got phones, we have got communication lines, we have cheap data with us, we have got 5G, 4G, everything. Many countries don't have those kind of telecommunication facilities. So anywhere you see the roads, the highways which are being constructed in India, expressways, these are at par with the developed world. And the technology in terms of means whether aeroplane I discussed, now railway also. The induction of technology in railways is coming through metro projects, the Mumbai-Ahmedab bullet train project, and regional rapid transit system which we are doing. This is a sector which was neglected till now, the intercity travel. With the commissioning of Mumbai, Delhi and Meerut, Delhi Alwar and Delhi Panipat, these three corridors in next few years, the way intercity commute will happen in India, and that replication of similar systems in other metropolitans, whether it is Bangalore area or Pune, Mumbai, or Bangalore, Chennai, or Hyderabad, Secunderabad area. Means there are many areas, or Lucknow, Kanpur, which is also on the anvil. So many things which are which will happen on the basis of what happens in NCR of India. You will see the way commuter trains will change, and they will bring in lot of ease of accessibility, ease of doing business, ease of living, and this how it is going to change the total paradigm in terms of people staying outside city, coming to city only for economic activity by this kind of trains.
Yeah,
and means what happened in Europe since last 50 years, or in some cities of America, only few cities in America, but primarily in Europe, that people stay outside and they commute. Similar things are going to happen in India, making the low cost housing possible. Today, if somebody has to construct a house in Delhi, it is almost next to impossible. Real estate is so expensive. But if you can travel 40-50 kilometers in half an hour outside Delhi, and you can live there, then you can live in a good place, a good house, and seamlessly you can travel with a lot of comfort. Now, the whole paradigm is going to change. The cities which are now overpopulated, where the providing infrastructure to people is very difficult, to the extent of being unmanageable. All this will become much easier. The cost of providing infrastructure per capita will go down. So many things will happen with this kind of system coming into being.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It will create a lot more opportunity. Even we can't even say right now. It will open up a lot of commercial, residential, and affordable housing will be possible because people can travel within half an hour. And I was thinking like sometime it take more time to travel within Delhi. It take 1 hour or 2 hours to just travel 10 kilometers. So now you can travel 50 kilometers within half an hour. So it will open up. Thank you so much, sir, for your time and sharing your knowledge. Generally we end this podcast with the rapid fire question round, just to understand more of your personal side. So if you're ready, I'll start with that round.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, so my first question is, if you were not in the rail or transportation sector, what other profession you would have selected?
So, I'm an extrovert person. I would have probably gone for police.
Police.
But what happened, see, I got this offer of railways at a very early age, means I was not even eligible for civil services.
So you just enter into that area, love so much, and you
Yeah,
never thought to get out.
absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I was thinking you will say the hockey player because you mentioned that you love hockey too.
So that too, that is something like that. I never thought as full-time thing.
Hmm.
Hockey was never full-time.
Never full time. So police. I mean, both are social service, both are serving to public. Now, my second question is, which is your favorite city in the world and why?
Oh. So means little difficult, but what I'll say, no, not one, but there are two which I'll keep at the top. So first one is Vadodara
Hmm.
in Gujarat. I spent a good time of my life. I started my career from there. Means after my marriage, I went there. I had two kids, both from the same city. So that is choice number one. Otherwise, also city is excellent, uh, nice vibes, and early to bed, early to rise kind of city.
Yeah,
Otherwise, if you see on the other number two, if I'll keep is Barcelona.
Barcelona.
Barcelona is also, I like this city. I have been many times there. So it is a full package. So there is a beach. Otherwise the weather is good. There are many beaches, in fact, around
Yeah,
Vadodara, 50, 100 kilometers north, 50, 100 kilometers south. And you get all kind of cuisine, means authentic cuisines are all across the world.
yeah,
Not to say about Indian cuisine, you get everything. So means full package.
full package.
Absolutely historical city, well laid out. The city layout is very good. The roads are well maintained. Especially there are some features of the city layout which I like a lot, especially the road crossings, and then uh, greenery within the city. The beautiful city, beautiful city. Yes, I always like it.
Yeah, no, both cities are beautiful. I've been to Vadodara
Mm.
in past, and Barcelona was with you a couple of months back. So we seen both
Mhm.
the city. It's really nice.
So
My
every
third
time I
question.
get chance to visit Barcelona, I never lose that chance.
So next time I'll remember anything we do in Barcelona, we'll definitely send you invite.
Absolutely, I'll be more than happy to come. Mhm.
Great. Now, my third question is, which is your favorite book?
Book. So
Or
this
you want to give
also
any other recommendation to people to
no, no. Well, if you see, then Bhagavad Gita is the one book which is very close to my heart. Yes, I'm a karma yogi, and this is something which helps me to remain on that path.
That's amazing. No, I and Karma Yogi, I just define for people here. It means somebody who believe in hard work, somebody who believe in integrity and just doing your work and leave rest to the Almighty or superpower. No, great. I think that there is a lot of leadership lesson in that book. And my fourth question is, which one thing do you wish you should have learned early in life?
Swimming,
Swimming.
I should have learned earlier. So I'm not able to enjoy many things which I could have had I learned it early.
It's very funny because I'm actually learning swimming now with my kids, and I have the
Mhm.
same feeling. I should have learned it early. It's difficult now, but I'm trying.
Yeah.
This is my last question, sir. If you can change one thing in life, what would it be?
I don't think I have anything which I would like to change. I'm happy, contented. So I don't think I have even one thing which I would like to change.
Change in the life. You wouldn't believe.
So I'm fully happy and satisfied with my present way of life, of the present life, I should say.
Most of the people on this podcast, that's the answer they give. They don't want to change anything in their life. They enjoyed whatever is their journey so far. They are enjoying what they are doing. And I feel that's the real symbol or sign of somebody who is really happy and doing meaningful work. So great to hear that point. No, thank you so much, Vinay sir. I really enjoyed our discussion and your insight. I love the conversation. I mean, I learned personally a lot of lessons from your experience. So it's great to have this discussion with you.
Thank you. I also loved the discussion and conversation we had in last few sessions.
2 sessions.
Thank you.
Thank
you for it.
Thank you for listening to this podcast. If you like this podcast, please don't forget to give us a 5-star rating, as it will help us to spread our message. If you have any feedback or suggestion for this podcast, please feel free to reach out at info@mobility-innovator.com. I'll look forward to see you next time. Thank you.